Book review: Heat of the Everflame The Kindred's Curse Saga. Book 3 by Penn Cole. Penn Cole returns to the richly imagined world of the Kindred's Curse Saga with Heat of the Everflame, an exhilarating, emotionally charged installment that elevates the stakes for both its characters and its readers. Building on the careful groundwork laid in the first two books, Cole intensifies the drama, refines the relationships, and deepens the mythology. Crafting novel that only satisfies fans but pushes the saga into bold new territory. In this review, I will focus on 6 specific aspects. 1. Plot summary. 2. World building and setting. 3. Character development. 4. Plot and pacing. 5. Themes and symbolism. 6. Prose style and emotional impact. 1. Plot summary. In Heat of the Everflame, the third and most explosive installment of the Kindred's Curse Saga, Penn Cole thrusts readers deeper into a world where the line between salvation and destruction blurs with every heartbeat. Following the harrowing events at Ashes of the Oath, Liora and her companions are more fractured than ever. The Everflame, the ancient, untamable force tied to their bloodline, is now more volatile, threatening to consume not only them, the fragile alliances they've struggled to forge, with enemies closing in from every side and betrayal lurking within their own ranks. Time is running out to break the Kindred's deadly curse. The story opens with brutal siege on the Citadel of Ashes, where Liora barely escapes with a handful of survivors. As she grapples with the weight of leadership, Kaelin, her once steadfast protector, wrestles with dangerous legacy that could either save their people or doom them all. Mira, the group's moral compass, faces hard choices that force her to abandon her old certainties for grim pragmatism. The central thrust of the plot revolves around locating the legendary Heartshard, an ancient relic said to be capable of either stabilizing the Everflame or unleashing its full destructive potential. However, the Heartshard's resting place lies deep within the Veilwood haunted forest, where reality twists and ancient magics prey on the unwary. Cole uses the Veilwood not merely as setting, but as living symbol of the characters' inner turmoil, distorted, dangerous, and merciless. As they journey deeper into the Veilwood, the group faces both external attacks and internal schisms. Old wounds reopen, secrets are laid bare, and the characters must confront their own shadows. Liora, in particular, struggles with the pull of the Everflame inside her, force that offers unimaginable power at terrible cost. Her arc centers on the question: can she master the Everflame without losing herself? Parallel to Liora's quest, Kaelin is drawn into chilling conspiracy within the Kindred's remnants, revealing that their curse was no accident, but the result of an ancient betrayal. His loyalty is tested as he uncovers truths that shake the foundations of everything he believed. Cole interweaves several twists, including devastating betrayal by someone the group trusted implicitly and heartbreaking sacrifice that forces Liora to make an impossible choice. Climax at the Heartshard Shrine is masterclass in tension, weaving magic, action, and raw emotion into shattering confrontation that leaves lasting consequences. By the novel's end, victory comes at tremendous cost. Though the Everflame is temporarily contained, the world around the characters teeters on the edge of collapse. Relationships are broken, new alliances are forged in desperation, and far greater threat, hinted at in chilling glimpses throughout the book, now looms on the horizon. Heat of the Everflame is gripping, heart-wrenching installment that tests its characters to their very limits and sets the stage for epic conclusion to the Kindred's Curse Saga. 2. World building and setting. One of Cole's greatest strengths throughout the Kindred's Curse Saga has been their talent for immersive, vivid world building. In Heat of the Everflame, that strength becomes even more apparent. The Everflame itself, both literal force and metaphor for resilience, passion, and destruction, is explored with greater complexity here. Cole treats it not merely as fantastical phenomenon, but as living presence woven into the culture, politics, and very psychology of the characters. New locales introduced in this installment, such as the Citadel of Ashes and the Veilwood, are painted with a tactile cinematic richness. The Citadel feels appropriately ancient and oppressive, while the Veilwood pulses with an eerie, almost predatory beauty. Each location is distinct, contributing directly to the mood and momentum of the narrative. Moreover, the political landscape is evolving. New alliances and betrayals feel grounded in the world's history, making the unfolding events feel inevitable rather than contrived. Cole respects the reader's intelligence, trusting them to follow the layered nuances of different factions and their competing agendas without heavy-handed exposition. In short, the setting in Heat Everflame is not just backdrop, it's character in its own right, menacing, beautiful, and essential. 3. Character development. Cole's commitment to layered, flawed characters continues to be hallmark of the series. In Heat of the Everflame, we see characters we thought we knew evolve in surprising but believable ways. Liora, the heart of the series, is forced to confront her own darkness in this book. Her struggle with power, guilt, and forgiveness is handled with nuance. She is no longer the reluctant hero. She becomes an active agent of change, for better or worse. Trauma she carries from previous battles adds weight to her decisions without reducing her to passive victim. Cole doesn't shy away from letting Liora make mistakes, and that realism makes her triumphs all the more satisfying. Kalen, meanwhile, undergoes one of the most compelling arcs, torn between loyalty to Liora and the demands of his bloodline, Kalen's. Choices are sometimes frustrating, but always rooted in believable motivations. His scenes carry a simmering tension that reflects his internal conflict, kind of restrained yearning that speaks volumes even in silence. The secondary characters, notably Mira, Torin, and the enigmatic Urix, also shine. Mira's arc is especially noteworthy. Her growth from skeptic to unlikely leader feels earned, and her subplot adds emotional resonance without distracting from the main narrative. Urix, introduced with an air of mystique, brings an unsettling charisma to the story, challenging both characters and readers alike to question their assumptions about loyalty and betrayal. The interpersonal dynamics are messy, poignant, and authentically complex, making this installment the most emotionally resonant so far. Or plot and pacing can make or break, a middle installment in a fantasy saga. Fortunately, Heat of the Everflame maintains a deft balance between relentless action and crucial character moments. The novel opens with a harrowing confrontation that immediately pulls the reader in, and it doesn't let go. Yet Cole knows when to pause, giving space for the quieter scenes. Moments of reflection, regret, and hard-earned tenderness that make the act. Sequences hit harder. The central conflict revolves around race to control or destroy the Everflame before it falls into the wrong hands, but what makes the plot sing is its unpredictability. Cole is unafraid to subvert genre conventions. Alliances fracture unexpectedly, plans go awry in realistic ways, and victories come at devastating costs. Several key twists, particularly the reveal surrounding the true nature of the Kindred's curse, are masterfully foreshadowed yet still shocking. Cole plants seeds early in the series that bloom into brutal revelations here, rewarding careful readers without alienating newcomers. If there's one slight critique, it's that some mid-book subplots and trimmed for even tighter pacing. A couple of side quests, while interesting, momentarily detract from the momentum. Nevertheless, the climactic third act is a breathtaking sequence of betrayals, sacrifices, and revelations that sets the stage for high-stakes finale. By themes and symbolism at its core, Heat of the Everflame is a novel about legacy, choice, and the cost of power. The Everflame itself symbolizes more than just magical prowess. It represents the inheritance of trauma, the temptation to remake the world by force, and the peril of believing oneself righteous. Characters grapple not just with external enemies, but with the darker impulses within themselves. A recurring motif in the book is the intergenerational consequences of violence. Several key characters, Liora and Kalen among them, are burdened by the sins and ambitions of their forebears. Their struggle to either honor or break from that legacy provides the story with emotional heft. Another powerful theme is forgiveness of self and others. Nearly every major character wrestles with guilt or betrayal. Cole handles these struggles with sensitivity, avoiding simplistic resolutions. Forgiveness is shown not as magical cure, but as difficult ongoing process, which makes the character arcs feel genuinely earned. Symbolism is woven subtly throughout, the Everflame flickering erratically during moments of doubt, the fractured mirrors in the Citadel reflecting splintered identities of the characters, the blighted trees of the Veilwood mirroring moral corruption. These details add richness without feeling overly studied. The novel asks profound questions. Can we truly break free from the chains of our past? What sacrifices are worth making for a better future? And crucially, it doesn't offer easy answers. 6. Prose style and emotional impact. Cole's prose is sharper and more assured than ever. There's rhythmic quality to the writing, careful attention to sound and cadence that makes even simple descriptions feel charged with meaning. Action scenes are brisk and clear without sacrificing sensory detail. You feel the heat of the Everflame, hear the clatter of weapons, smell the acrid smoke curling through the battlefields. Equally impressive, though, are the quiet moments. Beneath the dying stars, she stood alone, her shadow swallowed by the flame's impossible glow. And still she held on. Lines like this demonstrate Cole's ability to blend beauty and heartbreak seamlessly. Emotionally, Heat of the Everflame hits harder than its predecessors. Scenes of loss and sacrifice are handled with such raw authenticity that you may find yourself breathless. Yet the novel avoids veering into grimdark territory. Amid the tragedy, there's hope, fragile, flickering, but alive. By the time the final page turns, you're left feeling both devastated and exhilarated, eager and slightly terrified for what lies ahead. Inclusion Heat of the Everflame is the kind of third installment that many fantasy sagas aspire to but few achieve. A story that deepens everything that came before it while pushing the narrative forward with thrilling urgency. Penn Cole demonstrates once again why they are a rising star in the fantasy genre, weaving together world building, character, and theme with masterful precision. If you have followed the Kindred's Curse Saga thus far, this is not continuation, it is an elevation. And if you haven't started the series yet, now is the perfect time to catch up before the final flames consume everything. Rating 5/5.